A coalition of groups representing people of color in Greater Boston is trying to get a fair deal on economic opportunities at the new casino in Everett that especially goes for construction jobs. Joining us are two members of the coalition, the executive director of the Greater Four Corners Action Coalition, Marvin Martin, and the director of organizing from the Boston Workers Alliance, Rollins. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to start with Marvin Martin. First of all, talk about the size of what's happening here and how many people might be able to benefit from this.
Yeah, so there's 4,000 construction jobs, and there's additional 4,000 jobs, permanent jobs, once the casino opens. And so it's a huge project. Work.
He's the casino operator.
Wynn Resorts is the operator, and they have agreed to match the diversity of the surrounding communities. You know, Everett and Malden, Chelsea, even Boston. And so according to our data, that's about 41%, right?
People of color, I guess.
Yeah, and they did not, you know, when we gave them the data, they didn't scrouch away from it. They went like, oh, okay, then that's, what we're trying to do. And so that's about 1,640 jobs. Construction, 1,640 jobs on the permanent side. So that's a lot of jobs, and that could have a heck of a domino effect in communities like Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan.
Curtis, I guess first thing, talk about the principles involved here. Why should this development, apart from the size, be playing to these kinds of rules? Why is that fair?
The development is, the reason why they're building it is because they're going to benefit. They are going to benefit substantially with the policy that happened, what was that, 2 years ago, with casino or gambling still being able to occur in the Commonwealth. So if they're going to benefit those people that are in the areas and then in the surrounding areas, so Everett, Chelsea, Somerville locally, and then also those people that are going to be working there or should have an opportunity to work there should also be able to benefit.
And imagine, of course, it's also because it's going to be maybe having some effects on surrounding neighborhoods, and people from here are going to be maybe spending some money there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's mutually beneficial.
Right. Marvin, what exactly are you asking Wynn and the regulators to do now that they haven't maybe completed doing yet?
Well, what we're concerned is we don't really see a well laid out strategy to reach those numbers. That's 41%. And, time is getting close. I mean, if the mayor of Somerville hadn't put a lawsuit in, construction, would be happening in a couple of months. And so our concern is that this is going to be another one of those projects where people have promised we're going to, do this, we're going to see the state limit, and it won't happen. And there'd be a missed opportunity for us. And so it's not just Wynn and the Gaming Commission. The Gaming Commission is supportive. Wynn has said the right things. Now that Suffolk Construction is on, we really have to see what their plan is. And then there's the unions, because this is a union job. And we all supported it being a union job. However, there are some unions that don't open their doors, and particularly to people of color, and that's a problem. And so we've actually been talking with the state legislatures to revisit the project labor agreement, right? Because that should not be a tool that becomes an obstruction to people of color getting jobs.
And that agreement basically says the jobs have to be union, and the unions have to agree not to strike.
Yeah. Right. Basically.
Curtis, what about the barriers? Is this just about unions excluding people, wanting to just help their relatives or something, or is there more that you have to look at besides that?
Well, again, is always the Corey issue that comes about, and people with Corys are supposed to, or I should say, the construction job should be the most Corey-friendly aspect in the Commonwealth, with people being able to get that opportunity despite having that background. Unions, particularly specific unions, I should say, like the carpenters, have been more forthright with saying, we want everybody in. We're going to abide by the Corey restrictions or lack thereof when it comes into construction. Other unions, not so much. It seems like that is an additional barrier to people that want to get in, at least the people that are in my community, if they want to get. I don't want to name specific unions, so because I don't know their numbers, I'll just say like elevator operators, pipe fitters, electricians. Though they have been, you hear success stories, but you also hear of people that I can't get into the union, or I was in the union, I couldn't find any work, they weren't helping me with getting any work, so on and so forth.
Marvin, it would seem that another issue here it would be the contractors or subcontractors too. I mean, if you don't have many firms that are run by people of color, then maybe you're less likely to have employees of color.
Well, that's why we've also talked to Wynn about joint ventures, and that's something they were open to. Again, these conversations happened between us and Wynn and the Gaming Commission before they hired a GC. And the separate construction is on. Again, we have to see what they're willing to do. But I think a joint venture would allow a lot of these contractors of color who are not union to actually participate in this.
Curtis, finally, there is a record of some success with getting contractors to meet goals for diversity. I'm thinking of projects that were overseen by the Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative. Suffolk certainly knows the drill. I guess that means this could happen again on a larger scale.
It could, but you want to make sure, the community should want to make sure that if it is something that they really want, they need to have those monitoring them, which everybody in the community can't do that, but having mechanisms in place so that everybody equally within the neighborhoods. I don't want to take any jobs away from people, let's say in Rosendale, in West Roxbury, but I also don't want them to have a majority of the jobs, and there are people that are looking for employment and have looked for employment and honestly have missed out on the previous construction booms of this city to again miss out, and in essence, the rich getting richer, the wealthy getting wealthier, and the poor staying where they are.
Thank you both very much. Curtis Rollins of the Boston Workers Alliance and Marvin Martin.
I
yes,
know
please,
we ran
Marvin.
out of time, but he just hit on a significant point. We're about to enter into the largest construction boom in this area since the Big Dig. And all of these jobs are going to have some minimum number of diverse workforce. And so if we don't start building up for it now, we're not going to meet those numbers.
Thank you very much, Marvin Martin from the Greater Four Corners Action Coalition. We'll have more news in just a moment.